Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to part 2 of my story and my awakening journey of what's been going on. So I just wanted to step back a little bit from where we ended. So we ended when I was probably in my late 20s, early 30s, around about then. I just want to step back maybe a few years as to some of the things that were happening to me during my medicated years, I suppose, on the medication, and some of the things that were happening and that I was experiencing during that time when I was in these deep rested. That's what a lot of people say now about depression. It's deep rest, not depressed, deep rest, because we need these times to just stop and slow down our mind, slow down our body, and slow down our spirit, because we're going through a transition, a change. And I started to experience this transition and change probably mid-20s it started roughly. So I'm probably moving back a few years from where we left off to around about, say, 26, 27-ish. And I was starting to be aware of things around me, feelings of things around me. I didn't know what they were. Obviously now I know that it's spirit, it's energy, whatever you want to call it, whatever your term is for it. But I started to be aware of just these feelings of either like a tingling around my body, around my face, like a gentle touch on my face, on my shoulder, on the top of my head. And I used to just like sort of brush it off because I think it was maybe like cobwebs or something like that, but it never was. But it used to happen at like random times, you know, when I was laid in bed, or if I'm just like sat watching TV, I'm like, oh, what's that, you know, and get this tingling feeling. And it's something that I've experienced all my life. I have experienced that all my life from being very young. And I know when I was young, I can't remember how old I was when my granddad passed, but when my granddad passed away, he did come back to see me in spirit and just gave me a wave and kind of like moved on. But he did come back to see me, and I remember that vividly. And this room that I'm in now used to be our back bedroom when my parents lived here, and me and my brother shared this room, and I used to have the bed on that side of the room, and I used to face the wall, and he was actually in the wall. He sort of appeared through the wall and just kind of like waved like that. But it was almost like it wasn't like a solid image. It was like I don't know, it was like that, you know, that you don't really get it now on TVs, but you know, like sort of like, you know, on the film, or was it Poltergeist, with that black and white sort of, and that white noise sort of screen, and it was all like black and white, and it was shimmery and what have you, and it was a little bit like that, but not quite as sort of vivid as that, but just like that, sort of a greyish, sort of tingly disturbance, I suppose, a disturbance in the force, I suppose. And that's how he appeared to me. And now if I lie in bed and I'm laid with my eyes open, sometimes I will see things above me or around me, and it's a similar. It's not as clear because as you get, when you're young, you have no veil, you have no blocks of life, of work, of worry, of stress, or anything like that. And as you grow up, all these blocks are like kind of put in the way, and the system, the way it operates, is designed to dumb that down, because it wants to take away all your abilities, all your ability to see, experience, and tune into your intuition. That's one of the main purposes of the system, is to do that, of the matrix. So, and that's why there is such an attack on this. But that's a story for another day. That's a story for another video. So I was being aware of these presences around me, and I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what it was that I was feeling, what I was experiencing, and I'd been on I'd been on a few sort of ghost hunts as well with another friend of mine, who I'm still in contact with, but not as much as my other friend Stephen. And so I've been on a few ghost hunts which were interesting, and I was made aware of a little bit of ability in them, being able to tune into something, but I wasn't sure what. I couldn't get anything really clear. It was just kind of like an idea or a feeling or an impression, and that's kind of like how it started off. But I was also shit scared of this stuff, because I didn't know, and it's the not knowing that creates the fear. So anything that we don't understand, anything that the mainstream world doesn't understand, anything that science doesn't understand, it just kind of like pushes it aside and say, we can't prove it, so it's not real. So that's that. So moving forward a little bit. So I used to go on these ghost hunts with some friends, and we just used to go to places and have a look around. We heard that they were haunted, or there was stuff going on there. We didn't invoke, we didn't sort of force things to happen. We just went to try and get a feeling. That was it, and just to see what was going on. And there was a few interesting things that happened, but nothing sort of mind-blowing, nothing getting thrown around or anything like that. The funniest incident that actually happened with that was with me. There was myself, there was a guy that I was seeing at the time, and then there was a few other work colleagues. We went to this sort of derelict castle near us, called, I think it's called Walton Castle. It's ruins basically, but there's not a lot left, but it's reputedly got several things there, ghosts, spirits. So we thought we'd have a look. It was quite local. It's maybe like 20-minute drive from here, so we went down to have a look. And we were stood, and we were all kind of like a little bit scared, and we were stood outside of the castle, and some of them started to walk in, and I stayed at the car with, stood outside the car, but all the windows were open on the car. I don't know why. Anyway, the guy that I was seeing at the time, he'd seen this white thing coming towards us across the field, and he was looking at it and he was like, "Oh my God, what's that?" And I looked over and I was just like, "What?" He was like, "Can you not see it?" I was like, "No." He's like, "It's there, it's coming towards us." And anyway, he jumped through the window in this car, and his ass hit me in the face, bust my nose. So my nose was bleeding profusely, and I looked over, and it was a fucking horse. It was this white horse, and I was just like, Christ almighty, what the hell are you doing? I said, "It's a bloody horse." He was like, no, it's not. And I was like, "Come here, have a look, it's a horse." And he got out and he was like, "Yeah, sure enough, it was a horse." And that was probably one of the funniest things that ever happened on one of them. So anyway, so there was things that happened here that started to get a little bit like, I don't really know what's going on now, this is a bit like crazy. So there was one morning, it was around about probably 3:30, something like that. You know, those awakening hours, 5 a.m. in the morning, you know, we all know them when we've been on this path. And so I used to have like a little portable TV in the bedroom. So this is when this house was mine by then, and I was in the big bedroom, the master bedroom. And so I had a little portable TV with one of them Ring aerials on. And I set it on a timer, so I used to go to bed and I'd fall asleep with the TV on in the background, because just low down, because it used to drown out any background noises and whatever. I used to find it quite relaxing, and I'd just fall asleep, and then the TV would turn itself off. Anyway, there was this one morning when the TV actually turned itself back on again, and I thought, oh, that's strange. and it came on like full blast. So I was like, it woke me up with a jolt. I was like, what the hell? But I thought maybe I've just rolled over onto the remote control. So I was looking around for it in the bedding and what have you, but it was actually on the bedside unit. I was like, oh, that's strange. So anyway, I just knocked the TV off again, and then I heard my name being called from. It sounded like as though it was within the house, and it was calling my name and my brother's name. It was Ian, John, and it was almost as if my mum was calling us down for tea, like that Stone Tape Theory replay thing. And I thought, oh God, that's just like weird, and it was scaring the crap out of me, really. So anyway, I just thought, oh, I must be dreaming, or I'm just making it up because I'm a bit groggy and whatever. The TV just woke me up, and it's something, So I just put my head back down again, and the TV remote was back on the bedside table, and then the TV once again turned itself back on. I was like, what is going on here? So I turned it off again, and then I heard the names being called again. I was like, what is this? This is just like mental. So anyway, I phoned my mum like 4:00 in the morning or whatever, woke them up, and did we have mobile phones then? I think I had a mobile phone. Yes, I did have a mobile phone. And anyway, I phoned their landline because they didn't have a mobile phone at the time. So I phoned the landline, and it took ages to get through, obviously, because they were trying to get to sleep. And anyway, she answered the phone, my mum answered the phone and said, hello. I said, oh, Mum, it's me. She was like, what's the matter? I said, I've heard voices in the house. She's like, what do you mean you've heard voices in the house? I said, something just shouted mine and John's name. She's like, oh, just go back to sleep, you're just dreaming. I said, no. I said, the TV turned itself on and woke me up, so I know I'm not dreaming. She's like, well, it might be someone outside or up the back. She said, go and have a look. I said, I'm not leaving this I'm not leaving this room. I am stopping exactly where I am. So anyway, so that was it. I was awake. So I just played a bit of music or whatever and just stayed up and watched TV. Then tried to get back to sleep and just went back under the duvets. Never heard anything again. And so, yeah, this is before I discovered the meditation. And then there was another time when, once again, I'd fallen asleep, but it was on the sofa downstairs. And there was nothing on, there was no TV on or anything like that, so I was just laid and I just fell asleep on the sofa. And then I woke up, and there was a man sat in the chair directly opposite me, and he was just there for like a split second as I woke up, and he was just sat with his one leg crossed across the other, and he was just sat there with his arms crossed, looking very relaxed and happy in the chair, and just looked, and then, but he, like I say, he was just there a split second, really, really fast, and then just went, and I was just like, oh, that was weird. But it didn't scare me or anything like that time, which is a bit more comforting. And yeah, I think that was after I'd discovered meditation when that happened, possibly. There's that much that's happened. It's quite hard to relay all of it as accurately as possible, but I will try. So anyway, after that, so we had the voices. So after that, I started to get these strange occurrences where, I found it happened at different cycles. It seems, again, it's this cycles thing, this circular thing. The universe is circular. Everything is circular within the universe, and everything operates on this circle. And I was going through periods of what I now know to be synchronicity, but at the time I was thinking, well, that's a weird coincidence. All these really random things were happening, and I didn't really know what they were or what they meant. And I was also starting to watch a lot more YouTube, and videos started to show up on YouTube that I'd never ever watched before, and whether it's because I'd started meditating and these videos were connected to meditation, I don't know. I really don't know. but they were interesting, so I discovered more people out there in the world that had information for me that I could learn from. One of them, the first one that I learned a lot of stuff from, was a guy called Mark Bierski on YouTube, and a lot of you will probably follow him, will probably know who he is, but I learned a lot of stuff from his channel to do with spirit, to do with connection, to do with energy, to do with cleansing, to do with crystals. And when I found a video about crystals, something within that video just kind of like pinged with me. And it's a similar ping that I felt a few years later when I discovered Reiki, but I will come on to that. That's a little bit further down the line. That's maybe going to be in part 3, I don't know. But yeah, I had this like ping feeling. He was talking about crystals and he was talking about moldavite, and I was just like, there's something about that I need to feel, I need to know, because something about to do with that resonates with me for some reason. I didn't use the word resonate by the way back then. It was just something that I thought, that's interesting. So that kind of put me on a path of trying to understand more about crystals and tune into them and find out what these wonderful gifts from Mother Nature have. And so I went out and I found my favourite shop now, which is in town near me, called Guru Boutique. And they sell all sorts, not just crystals, but they sell sage, they sell incense, they sell clothing, they sell cards, they sell all wonderful things, gifts and what have you. So anyway, I went there and I found out that they sold moldavite. I was going to buy some off Mark Bierski's website, but it was really expensive, and it's even more expensive now because the price of moldavite has skyrocketed so much. So I got a piece from there, and I still have it now. I still wear it now. I wear it every day pretty much, and that for me snowballed my awakening journey. It really did. Plus watching Mark's videos really helped a lot as well. And he is kind of one of the guys that I felt drawn to make a YouTube channel because of his journey, and because of his messages, because of his passion of what he does with healing, with crystals, with assisting people, with working with energy and working with spirit and that connection. That is something that really I felt really drawn towards, and it's something that I never ever considered to be a YouTuber or someone that would create a channel and start making videos or content for people to watch and learn from. It's just been an organic process up to this point, but obviously again that came quite a few years later. So I just discovered moldavite, and all along this journey so far, there's been certain things that I felt this kind of ping feeling to, and each time I've had this ping feeling, I felt drawn to it, and I've had to get it or experience it or try to find out a little bit more about it to see if it resonates with me and see if I can connect something to it. And 9 times out of 10 there is something there that I connect with, or I feel, or something that just resonates with me, with my soul and my journey and my awakening path. So where was I? So I got this moldavite, and I thought, well, I've got it, now what do I do with it now? So I was starting to learn about how to cleanse crystals, what to do with crystals, how to use crystals, and started to create my own little world around them, of my own world of discovery. So I watched videos about how to cleanse them and how to tune into them and what to do. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go with what I feel will be right for me to do with these crystals. And at the time I only had the one. I had the moldavite. So I thought, you know what, one night decided to lie down, and I'd heard all about the third eye. I'd learned all about chakra points, and again, this is before I discovered Reiki or anything like that. I was learning all about these energy centers, chakra points, energy points, whatever you want to call them, and thought, you know what, I'm going to put this Moldavite on my third eye. So, and by this time I was quite a competent meditator, so I was meditating for quite a long period of time by this point, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And so I put this Moldavite on my third eye. I thought, you know what, I'll just see what happens, I'll see what. And I was laid down, and after a few minutes I could feel things in my head moving. And it felt almost like a flower opening up. You know, I know that's just like the chakra thing, the flowers, but that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like something was coming alive in my head, and I didn't know what it was. All I could think of was, this is something to do with my third eye, and it's helping it to open. And boy, it did. It certainly did. And I started seeing things a lot differently, seeing things with a true open eye. But there was still a long way to go after this. There was still a long way to go and a lot of learning to go down. But that's where Moldavite entered my life, and I want to talk a little bit more about Moldavite in the next video. So I'm going to leave that here for this video. I don't want to make these videos too long because people will get bored and go away, or get sick of listening to me. So this is going to be part 2 of my journey so far, and I'll leave that here. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Please do comment below, let me know if you're enjoying them, and if the information that I'm giving is good for you and is important to you, and you're finding it informative for you and for your journey. But I want to try and give as much honesty and as much clarity as I can with regards to what I've worked with, my journey, and how I've worked with it over the years. So this is where I'm going to start. I will start going down rabbit holes of information with different stuff of what I've learned, but I will continue my awakening journey first, and then I will start branching out into the different areas of things that I have learned. So stick with me, please. I hope you're enjoying it. I really, really do. And let me know. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, a ping, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, to keep updated with these videos and with my story. But until the next video, which is going to be a continuation from this one once again, about Moldavite and moving through my awakening journey. Until then, much love, take care of yourselves, and namaste.